Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I am going to do a video that I wanted to do for a little bit. I just never knew what I would put on this list, but I am going to be talking about the DCU, James Gunn's new DC universe that he's making over at DC and Warner Brothers. But I am talking about the top 10 teams, DC teams I want to see in James Gunn's DCU. This actually took like a few hours to figure out because I'm going like scratching the surface, going like, okay, what have we seen that I think that will be good for for James Gunn, especially to adapt, and what haven't we seen that I think will be a cool idea to see. And are basically some of my favorite characters from DC. So let's get into it. Number 10 is the Green Lantern Corps. Now, this team has gone a lot of versions, whether if it goes to the comics or even the series. But the only one that we got live action was that Ryan Reynolds movie. And honestly, by the time I'm filming this, I haven't seen that movie. But apparently it's not good. But also, it's one of those things where it's like, they are working on that that Lantern show that's meant to be a true detective kind of series with both Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. I think that would be really interesting, and I think that like the Green Lantern Corps is one of those areas that you can get a lot of the different space elements in the world of DC, and I think that that will be a really cool team to get us on the path of knowing what the Green Lanterns are. Now, number 9 for me is the Gotham Knights. Now, this is basically based on the video game. I haven't played that video game. I do not have a PS5, but when the trailer came out, I loved the idea of taking Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, and Red Hood, basically continuing on Batman's legacy after he died. And I think that that'll be such a cool thing, and that's something that you could easily do lay down the line when Batman eventually dies. You can have your 4 Bat family members being the Gotham Knights, because we're meant to get an older Batman. We already know that Ben Affleck is not going to be Batman in this one, but we're going to get an older Batman, pretty much like Ben Affleck was. So that alone is going to be very interesting, because as someone who hasn't read the comics, my only older Batman is Ben Affleck, and I think that Ben Affleck is great. I mean, shoot, if we go into The Flash, it's Michael Keaton as well. And I think that he did a great job of being an old Batman that was basically a Batman Beyond, but not like, he was being the Bruce Wayne of the Batman Beyond kind of thing, but it wasn't Batman Beyond storyline. So I think that, like, whether if you want to get a legacy Batman actor, like a Michael Keaton or something like that, right? Or even you want to get someone new. I don't know who James Gunn has in mind. I do know that Alan Richardson has showed interest in playing Batman. It's just whether if James Gunn wants to actually give it to him. But no, so I'm actually really curious to see if they actually do the Gotham Knights in the DCU. I think that that'll be awesome. Now, number 8 for me is the Birds of Prey. Now, I love the Birds of Prey movie. I think that you don't really get a lot of them in that movie because it's mainly centered around Harley Quinn. And don't get me wrong, I love Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. But that is one of the things about when people talk about Birds of Prey. If you're a Birds of Prey fan, you're like, oh, why is Harley in this Birds of Prey movie? But if you're a Harley fan, you're like, oh, who's this Birds of Prey group? So it's one of those things where it's like, it kind of flicks around like, well, what is this movie? Right? But I think that there is a lot of stuff you can do with the DCU's Birds of Prey, and having Huntress being tied to Batman, and then eventually being in the Birds of Prey will be such an interesting storyline to explore, and I think that it'll be fantastic to see that through line of because like the things with some of these other groups and stuff, you very much look at it and you're like, these can be people that swap around. Like, some people from Young Justice can go into the Teen Titans, some people from the Teen Titans go into the Justice League, some of the Justice League members going to, God, I don't know, some of them going to Gotham Knights, some of them going to the Green Lantern Corps type thing, you know? So, but yeah, it will be very interesting to see what they do with the Birds of Prey within the DCU. Number 7 for me is Young Justice. Now, I seen bits and pieces of the Young Justice show. I just like the idea of the group. I think that that's where you're easily going to put Solo's Blue Beetle, and you're going to put, like, whether if you want to put Robin in that first, or we'll get into the group a little later because it's a little higher, but whether if you want to put him in Young Justice first or Teen Titans first, really does depend. But I would love to see the Young Justice get their due in live action, because I think that is such an interesting group, because you have like Superboy, and you have Robin, you have Nightwing occasionally, you have Batgirl occasionally, you have Beast Boy occasionally, Blue Beetle, and that type of stuff. And it'll be very interesting to see if you can get Young Justice, if you can push Young Justice to the forefront. Number 6 for me is the Gotham Sirens. The only reason why I put this one on here is because I love the villains for that in the group, right? One of my favourite Batman villains is Catwoman, and I am going to point a whole video of like why we need Catwoman in the DCU, and why I love Catwoman in general. Don't worry, those videos are on the way. But I also love Harley Quinn, and I really like Poison Ivy, not as much as Harley and Catwoman, but I do love her as well. And I think that that's such an interesting group, and I think that, like, I haven't read too much into that, like those stories, but I will admit, they're such a fascinating group, and like, having those 3 villains being in a group really intrigues me, and like makes me go like, I am very curious to see if you can do that and make that a whole movie going forward, like, or shoot, even a series, because the DCU, James Gunn wants to have shows as well for the DCU. So shoot, they're doing Peacemaker next year, they're doing Creature Commandos next year, Superman's the first movie coming out next year. But no, so I'm very, very curious to see if they manage to get the Gotham City Sirens, push them forward into the DCU. Now, reaching my top 5, my number 5 is, of course, the Teen Titans. Now, I love the Teen Titans. I think that they're such a cool group. Over the time, I've grown to love Starfire, and I've already loved Robin. I really like Raven. I was a big fan of the Teen Titans Go to the movies film that came out, because I really liked the satire in that, and the references, and how they were making fun of the DCEU as a whole at that point. So I think it was one of those things where it's like, that is such a fascinating group, and like, I actually do have a video that I'm gonna make, which is me going like, who I want to see on the Teen Titans group, and as well as who I would cast in those roles. But that video is coming soon. So yeah, I would be really curious to see what they can do with the Teen Titans, because I would love to see the Teen Titans get their due on the big screen. Number 4 for me is the Shazam family. As you guys know, if you guys have seen my DCU movie rankings, Shazam is my favourite DCEU movie, and I defend Fury of the Gods. I think that it's one of those things where it's like, before that movie came out, if you asked what was my favourite part of the DCEU, it would have been the Batman side. But I think Shazam has quietly taken that over. I love the Shazam side of the DCEU, and I think that part of that is the whole Shazam-ally, because I think the Shazam-ally really, really nails it, and I love how we get lots of those, like all the kids get superpowers. Like, I did not expect that. I don't think that it's... I'm not one of those people that just loves to harp on, like, if you give everyone superpowers, that is only my favourite thing in the world. But in Shazam's case, that kind of is, because it made sense within the story of having all the Shazam-ally get powers, and then that's why I really like the opening to Fury of the Gods, because you actually get to see the team work, even though that you get to have funny quirks, like funny moments between the team members while they're actually getting people off the bridge, and I love that, right? I think it's so cool, and I love the Shazam family. I think that it's such a way to get the that group, because I think that that group is so interesting, right? Number 3 for me is the Bat family. Yes, I am going to do a video of who I want to see on the Bat family and who I can cast, but the Batman side is my favourite side of the DC universe, because Batman's my favourite character. I love Barbara Gordon. I love Dick Grayson. I love all the Bat family, right? And I think that, and the fact that you do occasionally get Catwoman in the Bat family, I think that would be so cool to see, because there's such a interesting thing that you could have there, right? And I think that the interactions between the Bat family would be so cool, and I love how the fact that you could have those interactions between the different family members would be so interesting, and I would just love it for that. And I think that even though that I'm one of those people that kind of does prefer Batman by himself, and if he's not by himself, I prefer him being with Robin, but I do understand, like, I love Yvonne Craig's portrayal of Batgirl in the 60 series. I am a defender of Alicia Silverstone's version of Batgirl and Batman Robin. I'm a defender of Chris O'Donnell's version of Robin in the Schumacher films. I think that, like, because when they made Batman and Robin, you can clearly tell that they wanted to extend the Bat family. But it's just this... Clearly you could have done it, but it was the script that was the problem. And even the directing. But even the directing wouldn't have been that bad, really looking at it, right? It's mainly the script writing process that was just, like, shoehorning way too much, because, like, not to get on the whole Batman and Robin train, but you had Batman, Alfred, Batgirl, Robin, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Bane. Like, 7 characters already. And then you had to sideline some of the important characters, like Jim Gordon, you had to sideline. You had to kind of sideline Alfred, because you had the sickness there. But if James Gunn is going to do this right, I would love to see the Bat family done justice, and I would love that. Number 2 for me is the Suicide Squad. Now, I am going to do a fan casting for who I want to see on the Suicide Squad, so I am going to do videos of who I want to see on certain teams. I will do follow-up videos for this, but Suicide Squad, there are really just... I don't really care who you put on the team. I want Deadshot on the team, and I want Harley on the team, because I think that the 2016 movie, while all that hate gets, I don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks it is. Everyone just harps on it just because it's not what they envisioned for it. Do I think it's the best movie out there? No. Do I think it's the worst superhero movie out there? Absolutely not. I think that there's a lot of good things and bad things at that movie. I think that Margot Robbie and Will Smith carry that movie. But I do really like a lot of the scenes in that movie. And you can kind of do the same thing that the original Suicide Squad did, where you had flashbacks to the different villains getting captured by our heroes, but you could do more of it, right? Because LDR Boy didn't really get a backstory with a hero. The only ones that got backstories with their hero was Deadshot and Harley with Batman and Captain Boomerang with the Flash. So if you do a whole thing of having Superman villains, Wonder Woman villains, Flash villains, Batman villains, I don't know, Aquaman villains, and stuff like that, right? Like, if you actually had a mixture of different villains from our different heroes, that would work. I think that it would have been amazing if you did basically like what you're doing with the Thunderbolts, where you have like half bad guys, half good guys, where you have like Red Guardian, you had Elena, you had Bucky, you had US Agent, you had Guys, you had Taskmaster, right? So I think that that'll be so cool to see, and I would love to see if they can do the Suicide Squad in the DCU. But of course, number one for me is of course the Justice League. I love the cast of, the cast is a different story, but I like the idea of the characters that they use for the DCEU, where you just basically had your Trinity, you had Aquaman, you had Cyborg, and you had the Flash. I do think that you would probably need more in there, but I think that it's one of those things where it's like, you look at that and you can go like, yeah, I think that we need this team for the DCU, and I think that would be so cool to see, and I would love to see that, and I think that is one of those things where it's like, you can look at that and you can go like, yeah, that is our DCU Justice League. I would at least love to see the Trinity, because the Trinity always needs to be on the Justice League. But you would probably have to put Green Lantern in there, because you're doing the Green Lantern series. You would probably have to put some of the other characters in there, like Supergirl. You would probably have to put in there, because she is a Justice League member. But yeah, no, so I would love to see what they can do with the DCU, and I would love it. I think it would be amazing. But yeah, so guys, that is my top 10 teams that I would love to see, or we need to see in the DCU. I am going to do more DCU content. Don't worry, this is just the first one I'm shooting at the moment. So guys, please like button down below, hit subscribe, and the bell icon to get notified of the other DCU videos and even MCU videos, because I have some MCU ones on the way too. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.